That's a bad hat, Harry. What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And today, I'm going to take a look at Jaws for its 50th anniversary. Like everyone else is. This film is so iconic. Everyone is taking a look at Jaws right now for its 50th anniversary. However, I'm going to talk about also the audio description and accessibility that came along with the film, because there is audio description on this. It was narrated by the late, great Ron Snow, which is nice. I love that my copy of Jaws is narrated by him, because he's one of my favorite narrators, and it's not like he can record more tracks. So, click like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm a blind film critic. I know, that's surprising. Tell your friends. And other people claim they go into things blind. I actually do go into everything blind, like this, even though I've seen Jaws. See, I could see at one point. So I have actually seen Jaws with eyes that I now don't have sight. So I can't see Jaws. So there's also that too. There's the, does Jaws work for a blind person? Yeah, it does. I don't know why it doesn't. It's the thing about Jaws. First of all, hi, thank you for subscribing. I love you. It seems like we're going to be good friends and you're going to hang out for a while. The one thing that I learned in and around this, and the fact that there's like a 50 years of Jaws, a definitive edition thing that's on like Nat Geo that you can watch now on Disney Plus. I watched it. It's not any more definitive than any of the other many multitudes of documentaries, books that have been written, podcasts. Like, so many people have written about the production of Jaws that you can't possibly have come here for that. You can't possibly have looked at me and been like, this kid doesn't have a thumbnail. I'm sure he knows more. I'm sure he knows things about the production of Jaws that no one else knows. Yo, we all know everything about Jaws by now. Like, all of the little production things. We know which actors hated each other. We know Spielberg wasn't the first choice, and how many times he struggled with, oh, I'm gonna get to quit. Oh, I don't want to do this. Oh, he regretted filming on the ocean, but also filming on the ocean was this thing that made sort of the film great to begin with, because it gave the real, the sharks kept breaking down. He uses real people, like the actor. He actually shot this on Martha's Vineyard. There are people who are non-actors who are in crowd shots, and these people whose like lives were changed forever because they got to play some like 2-second character in a film. I mean, there's so much. The people that he wanted for the film, he didn't initially get. There's a story of Richard Dreyfus and how the only reason he did this film is because the film he had just done, he thought he was really bad in it and the film was going to bomb. And he ended up turning back and saying yes to Jaws after he saw the final cut of his film, and figured that he was going to start to not get work and he might as well go ahead and get work while he can. Charlton Heston wanted to play Roy Scheider's role. I mean, there are stories. All of these stories are out there. And you can watch all of them. But for me, I remember watching this as a kid and being like terrified of going to the water afterwards. And I grew up sort of like in a beach town, not on the beach. I'm not fancy. I didn't have a beach house, but like in a beach town where I could just drive to the beach really easily. And a lot of times we did. And I remember just like always going into the ocean and just having fun and playing on the beach. And then there was Jaws. And then there was every time after that, I became you know what? Where's the pool? I'm gonna hit the pool. Let me get in that pool. Like, once I knew what like a shark was, like conceptually as a kid, I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I want that. I liked lakes. Like, we go up to Michigan and I could swim in Lake Michigan. Like, there's no sharks here. I like this. This is nice. But there's something about going out in the ocean and be like, nah, nah. And I think part of that had to do with Spielberg's willingness to just kill off a kid. To just be like, no, the kid doesn't come back. And you're like, okay, so sharks eat kids too. Good to know. Good to know. Good. I'll make a personal note of that. And you find out later when you grow up as a kid, all of the lore about Jaws and how Jaws like actually affected tourism, like beaches, beach communities, this fake amity that doesn't exist. But like that area of the world, you know, it's supposed to be like this Cape Codish area. Yeah, affected tourism. People were like, I don't know, did you see Jaws? I don't, you know. Of course, now we do have shark attacks. I mean, I get push notifications all the time that somebody got bitten by a shark and they're returning to the water, or you know, for the first time after being bitten by a shark, something. With movies about people who have been bitten by sharks, Soul Surfer, you know, Bethany Hamilton, you know, inspirational true story. But yeah, when you're a little kid and you see Jaws for the first time, because it's PG, by the way, so it's really easy to show kids Jaws. It is the hardest PG. Like, they always point towards a couple of films. There are a couple of films that happened that they point to and they go, maybe that's the reason why we should have had a PG-13. It's like Gremlins, Temple of Doom, and what's the other one? Red Dawn or something like that. I think are usually like the three that people go like, well, maybe we should have PG-13 for the but no, we had some other hard PG movies back in the day, and Jaws arguably is one of them. I mean, there's like a decapitated head in here. There's cursing. There are a couple things in Jaws, and there are things that could have happened even more that were left out of the book. Peter Benchley's book had like Hooper hooking up with the wife, you know, like that would have been hard to justify depending on how Spielberg filmed that. Luckily, they threw that out, and Spielberg was just really interested in this hunt, right? And there are all of these like iconic shots, and he talks about all the time how because the shark was so broke all the time, broke ass sharks, his fake sharks, that he couldn't show them, but it forced him into almost this Hitchcockian way of directing, where he had to build tension and fear of something that we didn't see all the time, something that was always just lurking. And John Williams' iconic score, I love the story about how they went into the room, and John's like, they're like, what do you got for us, John? And he's like, dun. And like, that's it. You know? It's so simplistic, but that little just like, it's like two notes back and forth and like played at like rapid pace. And then like as it really starts to get going, then you get the other instruments in there, and like, you know, like it feels like, but it's always just, it's got that driving like, and as it speeds up, like, you know, some shit's about to happen. It's a great score from John Williams. It's brilliant, and has survived time. It's people who haven't even seen Jaws know it's themed from Jaws. Like, you don't even have to have seen the movie, and you just, I think, conceptually understand where the thing came from. You know, some guy could come out of like from under a rock in a cave and just be like, hey, duh, no, yeah, I know what that is. That's the theme from Jaws. I've been in this cave for 80 years, but I heard about that, you know. It just feels like it's this thing that has completely transpired throughout all of time, even time that like it predates the film somehow. Like, everybody knows theme from Jaws, even if they shouldn't. Amish people who don't, you know, just, oh, theme from Jaws. So you're playing that over there on the violin. So I I've seen Jaws a bunch of times. I don't know, on DVD. I have a digital copy so that I can also have access to the audio description track. And it's an excellent movie. Some people say it's the most rewatchable movie. I don't know. For me, my most rewatchable movie has to have a little bit more of a happy ending. Although I do love Jurassic Park, which I don't know that it has the most happy ending, but it feels like it ends on a happier note somehow than Jaws. I don't know. Maybe it's because Quint doesn't make it out. Maybe that's what that is. And in Jurassic Park, because they didn't go with the book, more characters make it out, and so it's not quite as bleak. They rewrote the, uh, so more people survived Jurassic Park than would have survived in the. Well, it's different people actually. Never mind. I take that back. Different people survive is what it is. It's not more people. It's different people. I think it's the same amount of people. It's just different people. So yeah, I mean, it's Jaws. It's the idea of this thing that is taking over this community, the fear of the water, the iconic quotes, you know, you yell barracuda, people go, what? You yell shark, like, and of course you're gonna need a bigger boat. Just such a great quote. Uh, and the little Bad Hat Harry, which is actually like a production company. Somebody like tipped their hat to Jaws by naming their production company Bad Hat Harry. I forget whose it is. Is it JJ? It's not JJ. Because he's I know what his is. It's not him. He's Bad Robot. But there's Bad Hat Harry is a production label, and like they even use the little audio from Jaws where somebody just says, "That's a bad hat, Harry." you know. Um, and hearing that in the movie kind of stands out. So what's it like for a blind person to watch Jaws? It's, for a film that hides the shark, it's not. I don't think that it's any different. I mean, like the audio description tells you what's happening. This isn't, while I think what we're missing is maybe the shots, like the understanding of what Spielberg did to make this film great, some of those iconic moments. Um, like the one where Brody he's chumming the water, and then all of a sudden he's just like, oh shit, never mind. Yeah. You also can't like look at it and try to be like, well, how fake does that shark look? More on the side, does that shark really look? Can't do any of that. So I guess we can't pick it apart. The visuals that they were struggling with at the time. But yeah, I mean, as far as like building theme and tension, it does that anyway, because this whole film hinges on the fact that you don't really see Jaws for most of the film. That opening kill sequence is her just screaming and being yanked around, and it's the concept of Jaws, it's the idea of Jaws. And it's like, what it is, but you don't see it. It's not like this shark that like leaps out of the water and swallows her whole, like um, it's somehow more terrifying because she's just helpless, and we watch her struggle for so long, and like that's the beginning of the movie, and you're like, if he's willing to do that, then shit. And Ron Snow has this great deep voice too, which supports a lot of films. His voice works in a whole bunch of different things. He's just like, I wouldn't put him on like comedies or kids movies, but otherwise he's great for everything. I think he also did Schindler's List, if I'm right. I believe I'm right on that. And his voice is adds reverence to things, but is also, it can be sort of ominous when it's used for a horror movie like this. So it adds that kind of extra special sauce to the tension that's already there, because it's the right person who's narrating it, and you're like, oh man, some shit is going down. So I think it's great that this film has audio description for like the next generation, because we're continuing to have people like, I'm not 50, so I had to see Jaws later. And if I had been born blind, I would not have seen Jaws. If I had been born blind at the time I would have not had audio description the first time I saw Jaws. And it would have been a weird experience for me, just like a lot of like weird screaming and people talking about things. And then it's like, I really can't see the shark. Then I really don't know what's happening. So here, when, you know, parents have kids and they want to get to the point where they show their kids these iconic movies like Jaws, now this film has audio description, and it's one of the greatest movies ever made. So, I don't know what else I could offer to you other than the fact that, yes, I rewatched Jaws again. I think the narration, which is Deluxe, narrated by Ron Snow, is done so well. And it's the kind of audio description track that you have to make sure is done well, because it's going to last forever. It's the kind of audio description track that you don't want to mess with, that you're, when somebody hires you to do some of these movies over the course of time, the movie is just such a triumph to begin with. Some of these older classics. Now, most of them have been described, not all of them, but most of them have been described. So the first company to be told that they're doing the audio description for like Star Wars or Indiana Jones or Jaws, you know what I'm saying? Like these people, it's like, that's audio description that's going to matter. That's audio description that's going to be used. That's a title that's watched all the time. It's a film that people, there are stories about how they watch Jaws every year for summer or for Shark Week or whatever, you know. It's a film that people keep revisiting because it holds up. Because even though this film is 50 years old, it still slaps. It's still great. And it always was, and it always will be. Do I think it's Steven Spielberg's best? I think that is a tough conversation to have. Because for somebody like Steven Spielberg, it's the kind of conversation that you end up getting into fistfights over. It's like having the Hitchcock conversation, right? Like, some people are going to say Psycho. Some people are going to say like Vertigo or North by Northwest. It's not so simple to just say which one is his best film. So some of these auteurs really have a couple of great films, and like perfect films that change nothing, you know? And I think Spielberg is one of those people who has directed a couple of films where it's like perfect, change nothing. And then you're trying to like figure out which one, and then it just gets into personal taste. So there isn't like a wrong answer between, I would say, 3 or 4 of Spielberg's movies. So if you put Jaws at number 1 or number 2 or number 3, you know, I mean, yeah, there are a couple of films that he's done that are iconic, eternal, and perfect. And Jaws is one of them. And Jaws is the earliest one, which is why it stands out. It's not his first movie, but it's his first perfect movie. And as he says, one of the things that I got out of this last documentary that I watched that's on Hulu, I'm not reviewing that. It doesn't have audio description. I don't care. There was nothing I learned from that I didn't already know, except I did hear Spielberg mention that he's had Final Cut since Jaws, which is amazing because that was his like second theatrical feature. So Jaws was so good that he's maintained Final Cut for his entire career. That is what directors would kill for. And that's what Denis Villeneuve gave up to direct the James Bond franchise, because it's one of the reasons why Christopher Nolan didn't get the 007, because Christopher Nolan won't give up Final Cut. And Denis was willing to give up Final Cut to direct James Bond. So that's how that happened. And directors want it. They got to have it. You know, they don't want that studio interference at the end. So, Jaws. Roy Scheider. Great performance. I don't remember him much in my film life afterwards. Like, I know he's done some things, but he does kind of seem like he did Jaws, and he did Jaws 2, and he's done some other things, obviously all that jazz. But he does kind of seem to peter out. But man, I remember him from Sequest. I was a Sequest kid. I watched that show growing up. I loved Sequest. It's sort of like one of my early like nerd experiences was Sequest, which is produced by Spielberg. So yeah, there's that. And Dreyfus, I'm a huge Richard Dreyfus fan as an actor. He's a horrible human being now, by the way. He has tons of terrible ideas. Every time you hear him speak now, it's just like, oh my God, please stop talking. Please. You're hurting my heart and soul. There's so many performances of his that I love. Like, I love Mr. Holland's Opus. It's one of my favorite films of all time. Like, love that movie. And I have to, every time he talks now, I just have to like tune him out completely. Robert Shaw, who died at 51. He was such like an alcoholic, and you know, the legends about him doing this role while drunk, and it's weird to think that, because he feels so much older than that, but he's not. He's not even, it's not like he's 50 and then he died the year after Jaws, you know? So, no, he's only like 40 something here, and he feels like he's like 60 something. It's one of those like aging things where you look at it and you go, what on earth? Sir, why are you aging so fast? Like, I look back at how old Maggie Smith was when she was in like Hook, right? And she's playing this like old version of, and then you realize, you know, how old she eventually got, and you're like, what was she, like 50? Like, maybe. Yeah, there are a couple of people where you're just like, I remember the one, Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible, when he did Mission Impossible, I want to say it was Fallout. I think it was Fallout. And he was the same age as the guy from Cocoon. And then like, it's like Mission Impossible, and Tom Cruise is like jumping from roof to roof. And at the same time, Cocoon, you know, it's weird when you think about like age relativity, but yeah, I don't know why Robert Shaw feels so old here. Murray Hamilton, who ends up coming back as the mayor in Jaws 2, is one of the characters that returns. The wife ends up returning for Jaws: The Revenge. Yeah, it's an interesting little cast of characters here in this film, and a lot of people got their start on Jaws and went on to do other things in terms of working on it, and worked on screenplays, and Spielberg went on to do great things, I think. So if you haven't seen Jaws with audio description, you're blind and low vision, I definitely recommend it. The audio description, Ron Snow's audio description, is great. And it's also kind of nice to hear him on it, since he can't create new audio description tracks. But I don't know. I think this is usually where I grade the film. Well, A+. I mean, I use that grade to indicate desert island movies, and even though I wouldn't like, I'm not quite that level with Jaws where I'm like, I need to see this film a lot all the time. I don't know that it's a comfort movie for me. I have seen Jaws a lot, and it is one of the best films ever made. Even if it's not one of the films that I would put in on a rainy day, or if I'm sad, you know, to cheer me up. It's not one of those movies, but it is very much like, if I was making a different kind of list where I was like, what do I think are the technically perfect films of all time? I think Jaws is. I think the way Steven Spielberg shot it, everything about it just culminated in this great film that ended up actually creating the summer blockbuster. It was originally supposed to release at Christmas time, but the film ended up having a longer than expected shoot, so they pushed it back, and then it was released in the doldrums of summer. Well, turned that around. So suddenly summer they proved that they could do stuff over the summer and change the way everybody looked at summer box office. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got. There just isn't a boat that's big enough for the love that everybody has for Jaws. If you got to go on Jaws the ride when it was at Universal Studios, cool, good for you. The thing was always broken, but there are plenty of YouTube videos in case if you never went on it. It's gone now. I don't know about the one at Universal Studios Hollywood, but in Orlando it's gone. I know there are Universal Studios like worldwide. I don't know if there is an existing Jaws ride still up. But much like the actual shark, that ride was always broken down. And I also reviewed the sequels, so I hope you enjoy those, because that's what's really important, is you want to know what I think about Jaws 2, 3, and Jaws the Revenge. So make sure to check those out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I will see you guys on the other side.